You got these three awful mean girls, and Denise finally stands up for herself. Garcelle's my MVP, and damn, I love Dorit. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I'm covering Season 10, Episode 14, That's Not Amore. And boy, was it an episode. I thought it was so good, so interesting, and infuriating all at the same time. I can't wait to get into it. I really can't wait to hear your thoughts about it, and I'm going to share mine, so let's get into it. Also, I wanted to let you know my kid's starting back school next week from home, so it's going to be a whole shit show. So I'm taking next week off, but don't worry, I will pick back up the episodes I missed. We'll talk about them the following week. I'll be reading comments, so leave me your comments and stay healthy out there and stay safe. We pick back up where we left off. So they're in Rome. Again, I'm so jealous. I want to be there. Okay. We see Dorit still has this fabulous hair that only Dorit could pull off. She looks fantastic. Denise is talking about how Brandi says she's had sex with other people at the table. Then Rinna gets mad. Oh, Rinna pissed me off so bad this episode. We'll talk about it. I just think she's the phoniest, fakest, just mean girl, just out for the spotlight. I think she's on the same level or maybe even worse than Brandi. I think they're both just do anything it takes, including throwing anybody under the bus to try to stay in that spotlight or to gain the spotlight. So Rinna's mad, waving her finger around saying, don't say that. Don't even put that out there about any of them having slept with Brandi. Hello, Rinna? Isn't that what you guys are doing to Denise? I just love this episode. Denise finally stands up for herself, and we'll go over all this, but I can't hold it in. Denise finally stands up for herself. Garcelle is amazing. She encourages Denise and really has her back, and we see it here. And Dorit, I don't know how it happened, but she became the voice of reason. Even here, she says, Kyle and Teddi aren't fond of Denise, so is it possible that they're quick to believe the worst about Denise? Hello? Voice of reason, she's exactly right. So it's Denise and Teddi. Oh, Teddi. She is so awful. I just always thought she was boring, but the more I thought about it and really thought about her issues in this episode, she is saying over and over the story doesn't add up to Denise and how the facts aren't lining up and she doesn't think it's truthful. Did you not forget that the entire last season was built on you not telling the truth about the stupid dog story? She spent all last season building up a case against Dorit, and now she's doing the same thing to Denise. It's an effort to try to look less boring, but she still manages to be boring while doing the same thing to somebody else. She's terrible. She needs to go. On a funny note, I saw all over Twitter people were just calling her John's daughter just to play up her insecurity of being in his, shadow. And I thought that was pretty funny. Normally I don't encourage that kind of stuff, but in this case, well deserved. So Rinna says it feels dirty. Someone's not being honest. You've chosen to sit here now. You need to own it. Again with that own it. My God, it's as stale as her haircut. That's all she can say every season. She's trying to stir it up to stay in the spotlight. I see you, Rinna. I see what you're doing. But she's so full of crap. Okay, so let's say Denise did sleep with Brandi. Who gives a shit? It's 2020. Sleep with who you want. That's between her and her husband. I don't care. But Rinna's so desperately clinging to a storyline that she's just trying to make it out like it's this big thing, this big secret, and that Denise should own it. And Denise is saying, I've told the truth, and apparently it's not good enough. Rinna's saying, either you want to be here, and if you don't, then you should go. Rinna's just awful. Garcelle says, why are you guys choosing to believe Brandi over Denise, who you have more of a relationship with? Why are you guys taking her side over the one you're hanging out with? And I say, I love you, Garcelle. You're right. So Kyle of course, has to have her chance in the spotlight. She thought she was going to lead this season. She's just as awful as Rinna and Teddi. God, I wish the three of them would go. They would really have a show. So Kyle says, I'm not taking a side. Kyle says, it's not about believing Brandi over Denise. Then what the hell is this about, Kyle? What have you based this whole season on? What? They are believing Brandi over Denise. Otherwise, this would be a non-issue. They could sit around enjoying Italy and saying, Brandi's a fucking liar, an idiot, or just looking for spotlight. But nope, Kyle has to glob on too. Garcelle's asking how they resolve it and how they move forward. And Teddi is saying, I'm in a place where I can be cool, I can be fine, but my guard is up. Fuck off, Teddi. What the hell did you do last season, all season long? You lied all season long. You finally admitted it at the end, but you did. So why are you acting like, even if Denise is lying, why are you acting like this is a huge, shocking storyline that she can't be a part of? So Erika then asks if Denise told Brandi that she was an icy bitch. And Denise says, I never said that about you. I swear on my mother's grave. Rinna and Teddi seem all offended and say, don't say that. And Denise says she's lying. And Erika says she's lying. And Denise says she's the one that said that. I would never say that. Denise to camera says, I agreed with her when Brandi said that Erika was cold. And one of the funniest lines of the episode, Denise says to camera, I actually said worse shit about Teddi than what Brandi said, so that's what I'm confused about. That's all that came up. So again, we'll go through it, but I've just come to believe, I doubted Denise because she seems like she might be holding something back, but I just realized, fuck it. Even if she is, who gives a shit? Brandi does not deserve a place on the show anymore. She's had her time. And she's gone. And I don't understand what this is all about. And to focus a storyline on somebody's sexuality is just crazy. We do see a scene of Garcelle, or Rinna asks if anybody else needs to be honest about anything. Because that's what she does. She doesn't know what else to say, so she tries to get shit stirred up that way. So Garcelle does admit, when they were talking about the kids, and she asked if Rinna's body image affected her daughter in any way. They just talk about that whole thing. So you guys saw it. This is a hard one to go into. If you want to know my opinion, and I'm sure this will make people mad, but hopefully not. If you want my opinion, I mean, Rinna clearly has an eating disorder. And it's weird that nobody's acknowledging it. I mean, I know it's hard that nobody's acknowledging it, but nobody is acknowledging it. And then they're acting shocked that the daughter has issues with food. I don't know. That's my thought on that. It's the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. And so they make Garcelle feel, like she's out of line asking questions like that. But I think she's spot on. I mean, she said it before. Clearly, if her daughter had issues like that, she wouldn't dance around half naked like that. So I love Garcelle. Okay, moving on. So Denise is crying. They decide to go back to the hotel. Denise to camera says there's a dark cloud over us. It's not going away unless there's an honest conversation. So they wake up. It's the next day at this beautiful hotel. And Kyle and Dorit are going on Vespas. We see where Denise is going to sit down and have a conversation with Rinna. Denise did a good job in this scene. She remained pretty calm. She explained to Rinna that the energy that Rinna's putting off toward her comes off like it's attacking and interrogating. She tells her that she comes off as a mean friend and asks why Rinna invited her on this trip to Italy. And Rinna, I'm just so over her. This episode just nail in the coffin for me. So she's like, because you're a good friend and I love you. And I just call bullshit. Rinna is just grasping for the spotlight and the storylines. And she knew by Denise coming, she could attack her and try to stay quote unquote relevant. So they go back and forth, and Denise is calling her out on not being a good friend. And Rinna says, I was trying to clear the air last night. I did it in a terrible way. Denise says she's hurt. So Rinna takes a new approach, and instead of attacking, she brings on the crocodile tears. And I know I sound jaded, but that's how I felt. I didn't feel like they were genuine. I really want to know what you guys think. Did you think that Rinna meant it in this scene, or do you think she was just further looking for attention in the spotlight? She's crying. She's saying she's mean and angry and she's sorry. And Denise genuinely seems to be genuine, tells her that it's destroying her family. And Denise asks Rinna if she wants to go to church, and Rinna hugs her and says, I would like to go to church, promises to be a better friend. It's a whole thing. We see Dorit and Kyle with more antics on the Vespas. I've really enjoyed Dorit this season, so I just want to yell, run, get away from Kyle. She's awful. Erika and Teddi go to the spa, and we see Sutton and Garcelle. They're headed to this big church in the Vatican. Of course, Rinna and Denise come out to join them. We find out an interesting storyline about Harry Hamlin in the car, about moving to Italy for a couple of years. He had a son with an actor, and okay, it's whatever. So then we move over to Kyle, and so then Dorit and Kyle go to lunch, and Rinna comes up and joins in. They ask her if everything's okay, because they make it seem like she missed out on Vesping. I think that's kind of bullshit too, just trying to add to the plot line. Rinna is saying she had a breakdown. I feel like I'm trying to fix things in our group situation, and that Denise and her had been friends for a long time. Kyle to camera, this is where Kyle just drives me crazy. She's saying, I feel for Denise being in the situation. Bullshit, Kyle, you're part of the problem. Rinna to camera says, we have to have empathy. And Kyle starts egging on Rinna, I thought. I don't believe that Rinna actually feels sorry for Denise, but she's pretending to try to make an effort. And I felt like Kyle is kind of stirring shit back up again. She's saying, like, you hit your point of frustration with her. Of course you had to speak up. Ugh. So Rinna is saying she needs to take a breath and allow things to come out, whatever that is. So then the ladies are getting ready for dinner that night. We see Erika's insane collection of jewelry. Seriously, how long were they there for? That she brought with her. Mikey's helping get her dressed, and Sutton is getting styled. We just see all the ladies. So then they get in vans to go to dinner, and Dorit is saying that her Buca de Beppo, which of course Sutton says she's never heard of before. She says her part's done, her room's done, whatever it is. So she wants to have Teddy's baby shower there, so they're planning that. Beforehand, Denise says that she's had a chance to think about things. She's taking control tonight because she's had it, and it's time to say her piece. And I actually felt like this was genuine. I feel like I'm kind of the same way, where in an argument, I don't know how to react right off the bat, especially if I'm surprised by something. But after time to think, I think most of us are like this. If we think about it, then we can more articulate what's bothering us. So I feel like that's kind of what happened here. Denise has been ambushed the entire trip, and she finally had time to compose herself and think about what she wanted to say. So this is her chance to say it. So she does thank Lisa Rinna for having all them to Italy. She makes a toast and that she wants to talk. So Denise announces that she's glad that she and Rinna had a chance to talk. She feels like there's just so much judgment with this group. At every single dinner, she's been on the receiving end and attacked every time. That her husband didn't want her to go on this trip because he had a feeling and that bad things would happen, and he was right. And then to Kyle, she says, you keep saying, be honest, be honest. I was honest and nobody believed me. I say, good for you, Denise. She's right. That's exactly what it is. They've been saying, tell your side, tell your side. She tells her side, and then they attack her for it. Kyle says, when things are brought out and put into the open, they have to be addressed by the group. Denise says, this has been the worst trip I've ever been on in my entire life. Kyle says, who do you feel attacked you? I did not attack you. And Denise says, you've not attacked me? You dragged in Brandy, and it's gotten to the point where it's Mean Girls. Ooh, good for you. That touched a nerve. They all get offended, especially, of course, Teddi, Rinna, and Kyle, because they are the Mean Girls. And Denise called them out on it, and good for you. Poor Garcelle, she's just over it. She gets up, she walks out. Denise walks out, too, to go find her. Garcelle's crying, saying she's tired and she misses her boys and she wants to go home. Denise says they've crossed a line and it's evil and detrimental and it's not cool. Then we see a producer pulls Denise aside and says, you don't want to go back to the hotel. You came in, you made a big speech, and you don't want to leave like that. Let's figure out how we can move past this. And I say, God bless you, producer. Thank you for stepping in, because I do like Denise, and especially this episode, I really like Denise. I don't like that she leaves every time. It does bother me. I understand it because you just want to get away from all that awfulness, but I don't, as a viewer, I don't like it. She should stay and fight with these ladies. So the producer gets her back in there. She says she wants to move past this. They all thank her for coming back. And Kyle says she wants to resolve it and move on. Bullshit, Kyle. Denise says that would be great. They kind of pick back up with girl talk and weird places they've had sex. And they actually seem to be enjoying each other. And I felt a sense of relief, even though I know it's coming to an end shortly. Just that they were able to make up and at least pretend to be nice to Denise for a few minutes. Garcelle says, let's drop everything that's negative and move forward, and they all cheers. And then we see a flash of next time. So they head back to America. They're throwing that Buca de Beppo baby shower. Wow, that's hard to say. Brandy is with the ladies, and oh my God, Brandy, your face. You used to be so gorgeous. I don't understand what you did. The women tell Brandy the stuff that Denise has been saying. Brandy, of course, is trying to say that Denise has been lying. Brandy says she has the texts to prove it. And of course, we see flash text messages. I read those texts. They prove nothing. They're not really anything, I didn't think. They just sound like friends texting each other. And then Brandy says something controversial here that the ladies freak out over. I rewound it. Listen to me, I sound like I'm 1,000. I rewound it. I backed it up. I couldn't figure out what the heck she said. I think it had to do with sleeping on her face. I'm not sure. So anyway, so that was the episode. Again, I'm fired up this time because a lot of them pissed me off. Denise was a shining star. Garcelle was great. And Dorit, I'm loving her this season. So that's my thought on that. I really want to know your thoughts. I'm loving the comments I'm getting. You guys are fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. So I'm covering Beverly Hills, of course. I'm covering New York. I'm covering Potomac, which I love. Get on that if you're not watching it. And Below Deck Med, which completely sucks this season, but I'm covering it anyway. So thank you again for all the wonderful comments. I really appreciate it. And you can find me on Twitter at Real Recaps, or you leave me a comment below, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.